the difference for me, you can be motivated, but if you're not determined to set those goals and meet those goals, you might as well walk away from it and do something different, do something else, or go back and clock in and do whatever. But entrepreneurship is based on how hard you're gonna go, and are you gonna obtain are you gonna do what it takes to get to those goals, reach those goals?
Yeah, and like you said, being entrepreneurial, you don't have to. And I hate the tone that people say that in order for you to be a boss, in order for you to matter, you have to own your own business. That's not so for everybody.
No.
So, but you can behave entrepreneurial in whatever you're doing. And so when you talk about, and we all have had influential fathers in different ways. You know, my dad has OCD like nobody else. I mean, this dude, I mean, I can't even explain. My dad used to white glove stuff. I'm talking, you know, touch it to see if it was, you know. Yes. And Javon, you've lived with him, so you understand. Yes. But the discipline. But one thing is that comes to mind when I think about motivation and inspiration. Those things can help you want it. But discipline helps you get it and keep it.
Welcome to Black Women's World Podcast, the BWWP, where we get VIP access into the lives of Black women, or as we like to call us here, our sister Nistas. We get to hear from some of our favorite sister Nistas as they share their worlds with us and create connections, exchange realities, ideas, and baby, we get to recognize and celebrate how powerful we really are. Our sisterhood here is real, filled with peace, wisdom, hope, love, light, and laughter. You know, the kind you can feel, the kind of encouragement that confirms we can do anything because we have, and the kind of inspiration that proves we can be even greater. This is our world, where if you ain't a Black woman, you may want to be one, or definitely get to know one. It's a Black women's world, and we welcome our sister Nista lovers too. Welcome to our queendom. I'm your self-discovery companion, your professional peacemaker, and I'm your host, TracyMac. Come on in and relax and sit with me for just a little while. Peace.
Well, hello, everybody. I am TracyMac, your self-discovery companion, your professional peacemaker, and host of Black Women's World Podcast. Listen, today we are going to be talking to you about motivation and inspiration versus discipline. And my two dynamic co-hosts, Dina Hamilton, how you doing today, Sugar?
Hey, girl, how you?
I'm good. Javon Cookie Jones, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, but you know what? You me and Dina good. But since Flutterism Training Center has kicked off, we got to celebrate Kapow. I mean, you are in your training center right now. Can you tell the people a little bit? Just tell us a little bit about this experience.
Well, I started the Flutterism Training Center officially on paper March 1st. I'm still waiting for a few things from my city, but we're rolling, y'all. We're rolling. I would pan the camera, but I'm on my iMac, so I'm not able to do that, TracyMac.
Okay, listen.
Show the people, what's that picture behind you?
Yes, yes.
That's a picture with my girls and my mission statement. I know you can't really read my mission statement very well.
What's our posture?
Yeah, that's us, y'all. And I blew it up as large as I could and framed it on my wall.
Wow.
And it says Kapow, basically to educate and empower women to be proficient and confident with the use of firearms while effectively comprehending, interpreting, and utilizing safety rules and state laws. Booyah.
Booyah.
Yes.
You know, Dina one day, she was like, my friends do big stuff.
That's really not what I said, but
I know what she said, though. I know what she said. She said it in the Baptist way.
She went Kirk Franklin too soon.
She went Kirk Franklin
too soon.
But anyway,
Yeah,
Pow,
appreciate it, y'all.
you know, it's just wonderful. And I got to
Thank
take a
you.
moment. I just got excited all of a sudden because we were talking before then, but the excitement hit me when I went here. Because I mean, I have to thank both of you for choosing to co-host BWWP with me for our Sister Nistas and Sister Nista lovers, because you didn't have to, number one, because you're women in your own right. So when Javon opened her Flirterism Training Center and her inaugural program, Kapow, I couldn't make it because I had a speaking engagement that morning. And Dina and I were supposed to ride together, but because of some things on my part that did not work out, I just thought it was so much of Dina being a friend and a Sister Nista to not only drive to Portsmouth and get to Javon's grand opening in time, but to send me pictures so I didn't miss a thing. And Dina, if I have not thanked you privately, which I want to thank you publicly for showing up for Javon, who's like my sister, and she's my blood cousin, first cousin, but I just want to thank you so much for showing up publicly. That meant so much to me.
Well, you're welcome, but thanks is not needed. I mean, we are all Sister Nistas. I believe in supporting our Sister Nistas in whatever it is that they do. This was a huge day for Javon, and I really did not want to miss it. I knew that you had obligations, and I didn't want you to miss it either. So the taking the pictures and sending them, as things went on through the day, that was the least that I could do. What could I do to make sure that Tracy knew what was all going on until she gets here? But I just couldn't miss it because I knew that it was a huge day and I wanted to be a part. I was like, what? I can't go? Oh, no, I got to make this happen because I just wanted to be there. And I'm just so glad and humbled to be invited into your little family circle. I feel like family too. In fact, your mom saw me before I saw her, even with the mask on. Ain't you, Dina?
Well, yes. Dina, yes. And when you sent pictures with you and my mom, I was like, oh, she saw my mom. But when you sent pictures with you and my aunt, one of my aunts that Javon does not like to take pictures, I was like, Dina done went to Portsmouth and worked some magic. But Dina, you have welcomed me into your family. Even during Christmas, I went to Dina's house, and this is kind of off subject, but yet has a lot to do with the subject matter. I went to Dina's house. She invited me and my family over for Christmas, and her family, they had a gift exchange, and some of her relatives included us, and they had gifts for us. And I was like, they didn't have to do that. So, it's not tit for tat, but just that whole vibe. And you mentioned the word support. And the subject matter of this particular episode has a lot to do support, because you're talking about motivating and inspiring people. Dina's term, aspire to inspire. I love that, since I heard her say it 50 years ago. But we can motivate and inspire people all day long. But it's another thing to be disciplined. Dina, can you talk about that? Because you're one of the most disciplined people I know in so many areas. Talk about the difference between that you feel inspiration or motivation versus being disciplined.
Well, first off, let me say thank you. I've learned a lot about discipline in the areas of that planning. Oh, I looked back at that episode and I cracked my own self up. From you. And even since being on the podcast with Javon, I've learned so much, and I was like, what would Jesus do? What would Javon do? what I have changed the J's out. What would Javon do? But I think wherever you start is at least a starting point, because I did start on inspiration. I was inspired to start a health journey because I saw someone else start a health journey, or because, whatever your reason is, you were inspired. I was inspired to really be serious about my journey because of my dad, or lack of having him here. That was the starting point. But there were many times that I wanted to stop even though that was the reason why I started. So becoming disciplined in the area of health, although it's not anything that I thought I would ever be disciplined in, I think my my thing on discipline is accountability. So if I am not accountable to anyone outside of myself, it's easy for me to fall back. But once I have shared, this is what my goal is to whatever my circle is. Right now, it's easy for me to be accountable on social media because everybody is watching.
Yeah.
While that's that's a blessing for me. It may be a curse for others, but it's a blessing, for me, and that keeps me accountable. Now, when it comes to finances and keeping yourself accountable, everybody don't know your finances, so you really have to figure out what that discipline is for you. And if you have a spouse, if that's, if you guys do that together, Brian and I happen to do so, then that's something that you really got to, because in every relationship, one person is going to be more disciplined in a area than the other. So you have to figure out what that is and continue to make it work. But when you get sick of yourself.
Yes, amen.
I was just sick of myself. So when you get sick of yourself, that's when you start, I believe, pulling things out of you that you never thought that were in there in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. And in so many areas, when you come to the end of your rope or sick of yourself, I think things will change. But I think sometimes if we can do some things to prevent having to come to the end. I was inspired, encouraged, and motivated for years to lose weight. I even got inspiration and encouragement through surgery that ended up, y'all know the story, ended up gaining all of it back plus some. But it took me being disciplined to make a difference. When it comes to starting a business, anybody can be inspired and encouraged. I mean, somebody, and look, when you first start, everybody and your brothers like, you go ahead, girl, way to go. At least most people. And you have to take that genuinely because most people are really happy for you and proud of you, especially our fellow sisternistas, but you can't expect people's support to last forever, especially your closest family and friends. It does wane. People are not obligated to. So you do have to be disciplined beyond being inspired and encouraged.
Located at 3527 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Virginia, Blooderism Training Center presents Kapow. Our classes are not only to empower women, but to also educate anyone with a desire to learn. We offer self-defense, crime prevention, concealed to carry certification, and much more.
Kapow, knowledge of life protects brother, women. Build your company is with us today.
Visit www.kapowva.com. You've been listening to Black Women's World Podcast.
Javon, what are some ways because you are another one. That's why I pulled y'all into this. And I'm so glad that we work so well together cohesively. You too are one disciplined systemista. You are a serialpreneur. You have many different entrepreneur exploits that have been very successful. I mean, you can throw makeup on them. You can help them with their real hair, fake hair, put hair on, replace hair, put them down in the grave. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. You the last one to let them down. When they go to the grave, you make them look good. And now you helping them protect secure their own selves with discipline and firearm training. How have you been help the people?
Tracy, I don't know where it stems from. I don't know where it comes from. I thought about my father when we were having this conversation earlier, as far as being disciplined. My father worked as an educator, Chesapeake Public Schools here in Virginia for almost 40 years, 30 plus years as a band director. And before he retired, he had almost, I think, 400 some days leave and never used sick time and all this other stuff. And I mean, every single day he ironed a white shirt, he wore a different tie, he wore blazers, slacks, he shined his shoes the night before. Either I shined his shoes the night before or whatever maybe, but he was so disciplined, did the exact same thing, the exact same way. If he wasn't in the house after work by 3:31, something was wrong. Cell phones weren't in existence at that time, so we just knew Dad would be home at such and such time. But he was always on it. His work ethic was just crazy stupid. Like, that's the only word I know. But I watched that. He never said, hey, this is what to do, this is how to do it, but I watched him get up every morning, 5 o'clock, 5:30ish, he would read the entire newspaper, drink his cup of coffee, get to work on time. And like I said, everything was so strategic. He was very, very disciplined. I don't know anyone else like that on this planet that I have seen. I know some people that do the job, but never a Black man not using some sick leave, not using his vacation time. He waits for the summer when school is out to go on vacation, So for me, that was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be him, but I want to be so close. I want to be close and I want to make him proud. Yes, entrepreneurship for him doesn't make sense because he's used to clocking in, clocking out, but for me, clocking in, clocking out didn't make any sense. So we kind of butt heads a little bit when it came to, let me show you how this works for me. You don't know this for your era. Y'all were fresh out of, trying to get equal rights and everything else and so forth. But for me, my thing is just, he taught me the determination side. I'm determined to make some money. I'm determined to make some good money too. And I'm not going to do anything illegal. I'm going to follow rules and I'm going to be structured in it. Now, everything is not structured all the time. Everything is not detailed all the time. But my goal is for it to be that way. And as far as being motivated, I see Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A motivates me. I'm like, oh my God, y'all know how much money they make every day?
Yes.
But when you look at the process, oh my God, they have to hire this amount of people. They have to have this. They have to have all these supplies. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need that. I'm okay right over here in this lane, but the difference for me, you can be motivated, but if you're not determined to set those goals and meet those goals, you might as well walk away from it and do something different, do something else, or go back and clock in and do whatever. But entrepreneurship is based on how hard you're going to go and are you going to obtain are you gonna do what it takes to get to those goals, reach those goals?
Yeah, and like you said, being entrepreneurial, you don't have to. And I hate the tone that people say that in order for you to be a boss, in order for you to matter, you have to own your own business. That's not so for everybody.
No.
So, but you can behave entrepreneurial in whatever you're doing. And so when you talked about, and we all have had influential fathers. And different ways, my dad has OCD like nobody else. I mean. This dude, I mean, I can't even explain. My dad used to white glove stuff. I'm talking, touch it to see if it, yes. And Javon, you've lived with him, so you understand. Yes. But the discipline. But one thing is that comes to mind when I think about motivation and inspiration. Those things can help you want it, but discipline helps you get it and keep it. You can want all day long until you're blue in the face, but if you're not disciplined enough, and sometimes you need other people, and that's what Dina talked about, we sometimes use social media as our accountability partners. I use these two ladies as accountability partners in certain areas, and I've got a couple of other friends who I use for accountability in other areas. But the whole thing is discipline involves being held accountable. And not being around yes people all the time. I did a recent show called The Flex. People want to flex. They want people to see them flex and what they got. But you got to be disciplined to get there. Dina, what's the most difficult things you found about becoming disciplined, or when you realize you need to get disciplined in another area? What are some things you do to not only create, but sustain and strengthen your ability to be disciplined?
Well, the thing that I had to really overcome is the word that nobody likes, and that's sacrifice. No one wants to sacrifice anything. We want everything plus everything we had, but you really have to sacrifice some things. If you're trying to get disciplined in your money, you're going to have to sacrifice not going out. You're going to have to sacrifice not being able to do or buy the things that you used to do or buy. That was really hard. Sacrificing the food that you come to, they comfort you, so like that fried chicken and the peach cobblers, it just
You were feeling that one, girl.
Yes. Do you see it?
I saw her. Look, and then she got her fists tight. You see, they tight.
It's hard to push back from the table. It's hard to push back from the table. If it was easy, everybody would be able to push back from the table. But it is a hard thing to do.
So your number one thing is sacrifice.
Sacrifice. You got to sacrifice.
So what's your number one thing or one of your top ratings? And it could be the same thing or different, Javon, to be disciplined and to develop disciplinary behaviors in something new.
Sleep. When do you sleep?
Oh, I sleep good. I'm telling you, I sleep good. I don't miss out on no sleep. I was gonna say not giving a hoot. A hoot.
Hoot. Creative with the word. Thank you for keeping this PG, because I know in there you might not have said hoot. I appreciate it.
No, not just opinions and so forth. If any of that stuff throw you all the way off, you can get so concerned about somebody being so displeased about the route you're going. It can throw you off and it could bother you. It can hurt your heart. Like, oh my God, I did not want to offend them. Let me go clear this up. Or don't give a hoot about what anybody has to say. So, and that has come so much in my life. People have said things, important people in my life, not just, strangers. I'm talking about vital key players. Want to get that approval from. So blocking all that stuff out and just going with what's in my heart, that plan is up here, and knowing my money is going to make this thing happen, and blocking all those other voices out. That's that key hitter for me,
Okay, so Dina's is sacrifice. Javon's is not giving a hoot and blocking out. And in closing, I would have to say mine goes back to self-discovery. I know who I am, and I know who I'm here to be and what I'm here to do. And for some reason, the glory in self-discovery is it just puts these blinders on.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to be good at everything. I don't have to be the best. But as long as I know that this is my mission, I don't give a hoot, and I will make the sacrifices to do and be certain things, because that's one of the major benefits of self-discovery. I know exactly who I was created to be. Do I know everything? No, because it's a journey, and it continues. But to be motivated and inspired is one thing. That helps you want it. But to be determined and disciplined is what helps you get it and helps you keep it. And my sister nieces and sister niece lovers, I hope you have gotten something out of this particular episode, and that me and my co-hosts have been able to at least encourage and inspire you to be disciplined. Yes. Be disciplined. Much love and peace.
See you later.
You've been listening to Black Women's World Podcast, the BWWP, brought to you in part by TracyMac Solutions for Life Institute, coaching and training services. No doubt you have enjoyed being in our world, and it doesn't have to stop here. Head on over to blackwomensworld.com. This is my personal invitation to you to stay connected with me on social media and more. I'd love to see you there, and I'm so grateful you came to be with me here. Invite someone else to join you in our queendom next time, so they can feel the vibe of our tribe of Sister Nistas and Sister Nista lovers too. Remember to be kind, be authentic, be generous, be excellent, be grateful, and while you're at it, go ahead and be extraordinary, because that's just what Sistanistas do, on purpose, through mission, with passion and compassion. It's a Black woman's world, baby, and you, my Sistanista, are proof. I'm your self-discovery companion, your professional peacemaker, and your host, TracyMac. Wherever you are in the world, may you love and be loved by somebody. Peace.